I did go through the body of knowledge version 8, and some of the things that I could easily identify based on what we have seen in the version 7 and before, and what is there or in the upcoming or the current version. One is it is very detailed version of what we will see from a day-to-day application of the project management concepts, if I have to say that. And it is in a very, very basic language, a layman's language, as we call. So anyone who has project management experience, or even for somebody who doesn't have any experience of sorts, then that is also going to be equally beneficial for that group. So that is probably the biggest change that I have seen. Um, they've actually gone away from a lot of complex way of explaining a concept. So it's very simple, it's very detailed, and as I said, they have done a great job in explaining it to somebody who has got absolutely no background of project management. Uh, the other change I've seen is not really a change, but it's more of a concentrated emphasis of what we have uh, for value delivery in a way. If you have any background of project management, or if you have attended any of the sessions, then the general mindset change that they are trying to induce is a lot of it is value delivery. And when we talk about value delivery, it is not just for the project manager or the team that is working on the project. Value delivery actually operates at three levels. One is for the organization that is working on the project. Second is the organization for which the project is being implemented, as we call it, the implementing organization. And then there is value for the project team itself, like why or what will they get out of working on the project. So there's value which is going to be delivered at different stages for different types of audience. So there's a lot of emphasis on value delivery. The big change I've seen is what was introduced as a new concept in maybe version 6 or 7 is now a full-fledged way of thinking forward. And what I'm also definitely excited to see is how they induce this change of mindset, a shift of mindset from just talking about scope, time, cost, or our success criterias in a way. Go away from that. Well, go away as in not move away, or you don't miss out on any of those things, but the whole attention is now on, yes, we are going to meet our scope, our time, our cost, but apart from that, are we also able to meet the objectives of why a particular organization is doing the work, or why they are implementing a certain project? So that value emphasis is going to be in a lot more detail and pretty much consistently throughout the body of knowledge. Uh, Now, again, when we talk about a value delivery, there's also different mindsets which PMI is trying to implement. One, obviously, is this value mindset itself that we talked about. Second is the growth mindset, the change mindset, and then how all of these things together come together in order to successfully implement a project. So the shift of mindset in a way is being now started to deliberately operate at various levels, and that to me is a big change, because when you start looking at a project in terms of the value proposition, which I said operates at three levels, then our objective, our perspective at looking at value delivery. Um, there's a lot more. I would say a detailing that happens on projects, and how we are able to, or how we should be relating projects and our work in general at a global level. They've also tried to introduce certain examples in a way within the body of knowledge itself. So it's not just about a particular concept and how it will be applied, but a concept, its application, and what we actually saw in the real world. So it again kind of goes to the next level. They have given us some examples which you will see. I'm sure if you have the access to the body of knowledge 8, then it might be a good read to just go through it and look at how it's going to or impact the audience that is going to work on the projects. Again, the whole mindset that I talked about, and then obviously the holistic view. So when we are operating on projects as a project manager, then yes, we will be taking a deep dive in all the details on a day-to-day basis when we are doing reporting for our management. But the idea is to not miss out on the holistic view at any given point of time, which is then obviously going to benefit not just our organization, but even the customer organization in a way. So uh, there's a lot of continuity that we have seen between 7 and 8, but yeah, I mean the continuity is definitely leading us into the right stage, and that will help us as professionals in a way in the long run. And that to me is a big advantage, because when you consolidate all of these add-ons in a way, it's not only going to help us implement projects successfully, but it is also going to be a massive help for us as working professionals. So when we do an introspective of where we want to shift or change our careers or move on with our careers, I think that to me is going to be a big takeaway for us as professionals, because suddenly from, as I said, making sure that we hit our scope, time, cost, and then we align ourselves to a value delivery system, which then has a direct impact on the business. Then suddenly our way of looking at things change, and as soon as we are able to contribute significantly to the objectives of our business, then that also benefits us directly, indirectly, through the different opportunities, through the different work, the projects that we will be getting, and then all of us starts to line up in the right direction. So that's essentially how it's been structured, and that to me is a great way of introducing something new, which is in the form of body of knowledge of 8 version 8. Uh, Apart from that, there's also two new editions that are there in the version 8, and that again is no surprises. One is artificial intelligence, and second is sustainability. So there's a lot of heavy referencing, I would say, for both artificial intelligence, AI, and sustainability. Um, if you're not aware, but PMI has introduced a certification in artificial intelligence itself. They're calling it as PMCI, Project Management in Cognitive Artificial Intelligence. So I think they're also trying to establish a foundation in the body of knowledge 8, and then from there you can pick it up and successfully take off the next AI certification. So it's not only restricted to just a PMP or handful of certifications, but the idea is to really take it to the next level. So there is a reference of AI sustainability, and it's a consistent referencing that you will have, particularly for sustainability. If you look at the description, uh, there are multiple references when it comes to sustainability where they're talking about not only people and profit, but they've also introduced the third P in this scheme of things, which is the planet, which means that uh, PMI in general is also making a conscious attempt to uh, not only have sustainability as one of the project objectives, but they're also thinking at a global level in order to make sure that whatever work we are doing, or the kind of activities that we are doing on our projects, definitely is not going to harm the planet in any possible way. So they've also introduced the sustainability pyramid in the body of knowledge 8. And then obviously they take a deep dive into sustainability. But if you look at some of the challenges that they are trying to address, climate change, biodiversity, social inequities, community well-being. So they are clearly looking above and beyond the standard set of things that we generally do not look at when we are working on our projects, because it's almost like asking a question to ourselves is, when was the last time we thought about our planet when we were working on our project objectives? And to me, the answer is actually going to be not a yes, but it's going to be no, because we have not been tuned in that fashion to work and operate. So I think that is also a good change which they have introduced. And definitely this is also going to help us in the long run. So the triple bottom line, people, profit, and planet, is one reference that you will see pretty much consistently throughout the the body of knowledge. And there's also a lot of focus on ESG type of goals, so environmental, social, and governance type of goals. So all of these things put together is going to create a massive advantage from a sustainability perspective. And I think it is important for us because although there is a lot of political instability at the moment as we speak, but when we are looking at probably the next 50, 80, 100 years, then sustainability is going to be the most important thing, because we are already aware of the different types of challenges that we have in front of us. Be it climate change, be it the the global sea levels that are rising. We are soon approaching the 1.5 degree climate change temperature range that we have been set. So which we have, by the way, already crossed, and we are already at a point of no return. So the question to be asked is not if we will go there. We are definitely going there. It's just the how much of delay that we can introduce between now and the point we reach there. So all of these things uh, have been considered by PMI, and thankfully they have done it in the version 8 itself. So a lot of new projects that are being worked, be it construction, be it environment, be it biodiversity type of projects. So all of these activities will definitely look at all the challenges that are standing in front of us. So on one side, it's artificial intelligence, and when PMI is talking about artificial intelligence in today's world, or the use of AI in today's world, they're not restricting themselves only to, let's say, a large language modeling, or the different types of prompt engineering that we use in our day-to-day activities, but it's also about how do we ensure the data privacy, the ethical use of AI in a way, and then how it will be advantage project management with the help of different AI tools and techniques that we have. So again, this is one of that area where or one of those areas where PMI is expecting us to make use of all the available tools, the data references, the data reference points that we have, and then apply those in our project management activities to make sure that our timelines are met, we are well within our budget, and obviously we hit our goals in a way. So these are the two new additions that PMI has introduced. Um, Now, again, when it says sustainability and integration within all areas, it's not just restricted to let's say an initiation or a planning, or at those focus area group level, but even it could also come down to introducing training related activities for effective use of AI tools, even to the team members or stakeholders that are working on these project activities. So the way in which we are going to implement, keep on improving better ourselves as we move ahead, and then take back that data and process it, and again reuse that those decision making capabilities of the AI tool. I think that's what they are trying to do. So for all of you who are the PMI members, I'm sure you must have used the Infinity tool, which is the Chat GPT equivalent uh, of the tool in the PMI world. So if you haven't used it, it's again a great tool for interacting with the PMI's database of project management. It is not as evolved as a chat gpt or any other relevant tools, but I mean it's getting there. I mean, if you want to make use of this GPT for your benefit, then I think it is definitely evolved to that level where you can ask the right questions and then try and extract information from them. At the end of the day, this is not a Google search engine. That's what we need to remember. So you will be required to make use of the right prompts in order to extract the right information and then see what's sitting in the database. So those are the two new additions in a way. Now, having said that, although the PMBOK 8 introduces AI and sustainability, and again, some of the other takeaways, how do we make the right use of it ethically and then without in kind of moving into somebody's private space. But uh, the thing that you need to remember is it is not just restricted to one or two certifications, because the body of knowledge is pretty much open for all the certifications that we have, and it is really a benchmark that we use in terms of the concepts that PMI has created, revamped, reused in multiple ways, but it's open across all the certifications. So when I say an AI or in a sustainability, if you go into certain certifications, CI for example, construction or CP, sorry, CP certification, and if you look for sustainability, you will you will be bound to see a lot of underlining concepts of sustainability used in construction, because that's where it is going to be used the most. If you move into the technology world, then obviously it's going to be heavy AI and some aspects of sustainability. So as your audience and the type of projects change, the various angles, the different perspectives of systems like AI, like sustainability, there are again there could be separate certifications in a way just for sustainability, which might be outside of PMI, for example. But again, that doesn't stop you as a professional from even going and doing maybe a lead certified a project in at the end of it. So it is not just restricting us to implement this in the project management world, but it could be a combination between a project management or if it's any other certification. So that integration possibility has also been explored on the body of knowledge version 8. So those are the new things to watch out for. If anyone is actually interested in reading, just go and download your copy and take a read. It's pretty interesting, especially the sustainability portion on the body of knowledge. Let me take a pause and see if there are any questions. Okay, there's a new certification, PMI, Certified Professional in Managing AI. Is that a separate certification or incorporated in the new PMBOK? Yeah. So the answer to that question is it is a new certification, but as I said, the body of knowledge 8 is a reference to all the certifications, not just PMP or CP or CPMAI. It is a reference for all the certifications because it is a body of knowledge from a project management concept perspective. So the same body of knowledge will be applicable to multiple certifications. And the original question, yes, it's a pretty new certification which has been introduced by PMI.